Back on camera again, and I've stuck those in position. As you can see, I've just used the offcuts from the balsa sheets and just stuck them on. I've actually used Superfatic for these and pinned them in position and leave them to dry. Now that the glue has dried, the formers, my support pieces on the side of the crutch and my longerons on the fuselage sides, I'm ready now to assemble them. To help the assembly, it is useful and handy to have lots of these clamps. If not clamps, these clips as well. Don't worry if you haven't got them, because you can hold these together on the side with packing tape, and because I put the little balsa blocks in there, I could actually pin the fuselage sides to those as well. But the main aim for me was to actually make sure that I got a greater surface area on those. So let's apply some glue to the various edges, be in contact with the fuselage sides. Again, I'm using PVA, and it's very cold at the moment in the workshop. I'm not allowed in the house, well sorry, I am allowed in the house, but I'm not allowed in the house to build my models. I was allowed to do it once, and I think that was enough, and my wife decided that I was far too messy. I swore too much, and of course now she'd have to put up with you know who on the end there. Who's acquired some more bits from the kit so that I don't forget them. So I'm being banished from the house, so I've got to spend my modelling days, those were the days, I've got to spend my days modelling my aeroplanes in a cold workshop, which also contains all my other, well, some of my other bits and pieces. Let's just get a wide screen on that. You'll see when I round from my good old motorcycling days, some bits and pieces still there. There are various models dotted around, hanging around, and if I go right the way around here, some of my engineering equipment, lathes, milling machine and so on. So yes, this is my place of work for models. I've also got another workshop next door, but that's also full. Time to thin out the fleet. Oh no, I'm building another one. There you go. Well, we all know that's what happens. You can never have too many planes, in my opinion. Whatever takes your fancy when you want to fly, that's what it's all about. It's not always the same. Plane I want to fly every day, gosh, that would be boring. Having said that, some of my friends in my clubs that I belong to, they tend to fly the same plane day in, day out. They enjoy doing that, and I can understand the pleasure they get from that, because they can get the best out of that plane, and practice makes perfect, as they say. So fair enough, each to his own. Just that I tend to get a bit bored flying the same model every time. I like to have a variety of them. So we're all glued up, so we're going to put one of the fuselage sides on. Remember what I said, that there is a notch in the top of the doubler, and there's a corresponding notch in the crutch just down there. so they sort of semi-interlock, which makes things a lot easier. Could of course mount this the other way round, put this flat on the deck and then put the sides on. It's entirely up to you how you do it. So let's get the other side and put that into place. Again, another way around of doing it would have been to have obviously just glued the one side, put that side, put the that one on first of all, and then put the second side on. It's entirely up to you how you do it. There is no right or wrong way. Whatever works for you is the right way. Just work through it methodically, getting it roughly in place. This is not the final position, because the final position for everything is going to be determined immediately before I fit or clamp it up. So I'm just holding it with the pins and getting the crutch level with the fuselage sides. The less sanding I have to do, the better. That's quite a good fit there. That's a good fit there. Excellent. That's good all round. The ply fits nicely into the preformed notch. So what I'll do now is I'll clamp this rear end of fuselage, keeping it square. I mean, it is self-jigging. I'll just check that. Yeah, just by virtue of the fact of assembling that is spot on. It's dead square, which is rather excellent. Now, when I'm clamping these sides together, I don't want to put the clamp directly onto the fuselage side, because that will tend to, or could crush it. So I'm just going to use a couple of the spare bits of balsa from the kit, just so that the jaws of the clamp go and bite onto those bits of balsa there. So I haven't got to worry about it damaging the fuselage sides. Plenty of offcuts, that's why I said earlier about keeping them. Let's just break that into two. That's better. So what I could do now, and what I will do now, is before finally putting these together, I'm going to push my former in place, F2, here, and just slide that in place here. I could do one of two things here. I could decide to leave gluing until the rest of this is set, or I could glue it now. There's no reason. The only one you don't want to glue in place is former F1, because you've got to determine where the engine's going to go because of the motor box that you're going to fit, which fits behind F1, which we'll see later. Okay, now I'm going to fit this in place. Now, because we're sliding this over and there are three slots, there's one down the side, one in the top and one down the other side. Of course, we can't put glue in them and then push it on, because the glue will go down the sides. So we push it nearly in place, and then I'm going to get some more of my PVA onto this little stick here. I use this now to put all over my building board. Didn't mean to do that, never mind. Won't matter because it's plastic. And I've marked the line. If you can just... Previously I marked the line in pencil, you'll see there where that former's got to go back to. Very useful because I know exactly where it's going to go, and that makes sure that it's perpendicular. So I'm just going to apply some glue. I'm not too worried about going forward of that line because the act of pushing that former onto it will push the glue back. So I'm just lining that with glue. Going to do the same on the other side here. Some people swear by epoxy for things like this, which is fair enough, each to his own. As I say, there's no right or wrong way. The main thing to do is to get a good fit. A good fit on any glue joint. And you can't see what I'm doing, I'm just doing the inside of there. A good fit on any glue joint will give you a strong fit. A sloppy fit will not give you a good fit. And just put some onto that. The tongue, which is just inside there, and get some more from the bottle. I might edit out all these boring bits because they can be a bit boring, so just watching me put glue onto a joint. No, not that sort of joint, Elmo. No, steady fella. Sarah's already told you about that in the house. Yeah, she caught him with a freshly lit one the other day. She wasn't best pleased. I think she wanted some of it for herself, to be quite honest, but there, don't tell her I said that. I'm trying to wean him off it, to be quite honest, because it's a bit embarrassing. When you got guests around or family around for Christmas, what's that smell? No, it's Elmo got one going in the office or whatever, and you think, dear oh dear, why do I have to explain that? Anyway, glue in place, so we can now slide the former back right against, or the tongue will go through the F1. Let me just hold that and show you. So the tongue has gone, the tongue is through, got glue on it, which is good, and I can now push the former up against the bottom of the sides of the fuselage there. Yeah, glue is showing all around that joint, which is good. Shows me it's got a nice tight joint on that. I'm pleased with that. It's absolutely fine. Let's just tidy that glue up a bit. There. Just tidy it through there and there. As I said, I'm not going to put the other former on, which will go on there, because I can leave that till later once I've decided on the engine. Well, I've actually decided on the engine. It's going to be, I've got one kicking around, an E-Flight Power 25, which is that's an 870 kV, so that should be fine on 4S. Should give me plenty of power. It's a good wide range of motors you can use for this model, which is really good. And yeah, so I might just another G-clamp on there. Sorry, Elmo, I need a couple of bits of scrap. There we go, there's a bit of scrap there, and a bit of scrap there. Hold it in place and clamp up. Bring that clamp up a bit higher. There, so it's on the edge. There we go. So, just a final inspection on that. Sides are glued in nicely. There, no need for a clamp there. The pin's holding that in. At the back, it's fine. And I've got a good surface area contact. You'll see in there those little balsa blocks. There's glue oozing from those, which is a good sign. Elmo has very kindly pointed out that I'm now in the position of being first-rate Muppet because I forgot to video something in the last clip that's ultra important. My defense is that I forgot about it purely and simply because the offending part is not shown on the plans and it's not on the cutout sheet. It's actually something that is in the little bag of bits along with the balsa wingtips and the nose strengthening, etc, etc, and hardware. And it is a very important part of the build. In fact, so important that yes, I shouldn't have missed it off. I should have realised. It is this bit here, which is the wing mounting plate. It holds a T-nut underneath and is there, and when the wing's in position the bolt goes through the wing, through that into the T-nut. So what I did, and didn't show it on the clip when I did it, was before I clamped the fuselage underside together, I just pushed it apart, put glue PVA onto the ply plate and stuck it into position, as you can see there. So there's a slot in each of the ply doublers and a slot in F5 which takes the tongue of the plate. So don't forget that, very important part. And the other thing to do is to remember to put the T-nut on the plate and the hole before you put it in place. Yes, you can put it in place after you've fitted the plate and either draw the T-nut into the ply by winding a bolt down onto it, or very careful use of long nose pliers can push the T-nut into the plate. But don't forget to put that in.